part of the soil stain is much better. Okay? How you have to get the sample? We are going to construct the biosafety procedure together. How you can have to get the sample. You could, well, in the preliminary diagnostic, most of the time you need to preserve the plant because especially you have the problem that you don't have your lab. So you can open a window, take the sample, get inside, and you put again and wrap it with a plastic. You never left exposed a piece because insects come go everywhere. So it is you take a sample, get the sample, close and wrap. Okay? Whenever you are going to take a sample, you have to glove, boots, and overcoat, or at least
Apron?
eh?
Apron?
Yes.
Or overcoat.
Overcoat. Because you can move. The real thing is that you can become vectors. We have to avoid this, especially if you are going in a journey that you are doing several distance. Okay? You have to get with you a facility to clean the boats and then to disinfect. It is unable to disinfect with soil. It is not correct. Having soils in the boat, disinfect the boat because it doesn't work. You have to clean the boat, water, brush if available, and then disinfect. If not, it doesn't work for formaldehyde, for chlorine, for ammonium, for anything. You have to clean the boat and then disinfect. Okay? What we are going to do, because I don't know if there is any plants. What kind of cultivar is this? Which one? Huh? Taichung. We have to.
Question. Would the color of the pseudostem determine on the variety of the banana or the length of time the disease is affecting the plant?
I don't follow the. Okay.
The color of the pseudostem, when you cut open, would this, like you said, it could be brown, it could be yellow?
You can be together brown, yellow, no problem. I think it depends on the colonization and many other factors. What happened? The sclerotium, chlamydospores, germinate because of exudates of the roots. Then infect the secondary roots and started to penetrate. Most of the defense mechanisms are at the level of rhizome. You can see in very new variety that they have necrosis and you can isolate them. Even in Cavendish, I show you some slide of the artificial inoculation. After do not progress. Okay? The fusarium start to produce secondary metabolites, those things that is opening, breaking, the plant establish defense mechanism, plug the lamellas.
Yeah, xylem.
eh?
Xylem tissue is the
Okay,
best
and then open laterally and go again, and so on is progressing. It takes time for this disease to express all symptoms. It takes time. In fact, what fusarium will is a lack of nutrients and water in the body. And besides the effect of acid, fusaric acid and other toxic that they are in the food are able to produce. Okay? So, what we are going to do in the first case is to open a window and get, if you don't get colored vessels, you go down. You go down. If you have very typical picture of the disease that you are going to find, whenever you cut at the level of the soil and you are going to see the ring in the right soil. Okay. All these things you have to do with tools that have to be disinfected. Very well disinfected. Because if you have to do several samples in several places, you have the risk of get the contamination from one place to another and have a false positive. Okay? So all the time we have to have gloves, boots, appropriate clothes, and disinfected tools. Okay? I don't know if something is missing.
No, it's just that for the field activity now, we're going to break up in two groups.
Leave it, man.
Right?
Leave it.
One group with Dr. Perez, and one group with Monica and Jaime and myself. Okay? You had something to say?
Yeah, just before we move step back, how you are moving to the field. Usually you getting the call that you have like a suspicious case of Fusarium. Okay? So you need to be prepared. The first thing you need to have the history. Okay? You need to do like investigation before you go into the field. So you need to know first of all the variety. It's very important to know the variety. Okay? And the history of the symptoms, since when, and the age of the plants and everything. Okay? It should be you have like already planned for this visit. So you need to be ready. You need to establish what we call it standard operating procedure for that. So everything should be documented. Any inspector before moving to the field, he know exactly what he will do. Okay, so he need to have like all biosecurity tools. Okay, like Dr. Perez mentioned, like boots, overcoats, alcohol or any sanitizers, many sets of tools because you can use it many times if you have a sanitizer, or it's better to use a new set each time to not distribute the infection from one plant to another. And you make sure that you are equipped with everything before getting into the field. So you are not getting in the field with your clothes, with your shoes, and then you start to exchange. No, before you getting out of your car, you are completely ready. It's important to know that if we field like that, in the field like that, we need to keep our car outside the field. Okay? So don't bring your car in the field. So stop the car in any place paved, and then you are equipped and start to walking. Don't bring your vehicle with you. Okay? Make sure that you are coming clean and leaving clean. One of the most important things that you will collect samples. So you need, after collecting samples, to plan how you document these samples, how you collect data, how you saving this sample. This sample will be in tissue paper. After you collecting sample, need to be saved in tissue paper because it will be very humid. It's a living plant tissue, so you need to maximum minimize the humidity. Otherwise, you will get saprophytes in this sample. Okay, and also you need to have many envelopes because you are collecting many samples. Okay, so each time you're collecting samples, you're putting in a tissue paper and you're putting in envelope, and this envelope should be labeled. It could be like a barcode, and this barcode can carry all information of this sample, or you can write on this envelope all information. Okay, also you need to be ready either by paper and pencil form that you will fill it, or like we explained yesterday, if you have a digital form, it's much better because you will use your phone and you will collecting data and saving this data, and even if you have like a network connection, you can submit this data. Okay, so it's important to be like extremely ready before you are going to the field. Don't leave anything to just, I'm in the field, I'm looking for a knife, I'm looking for a plastic bag. No, you can't use like a plastic bag. So you need to collect a clean sample and save the sample and all information, because if you not documented the sample, it's useless. Okay, you will have this, okay, it's TR4, but you will not track it. Because if it happened to be like the first report of the TR4, for example, this will be the focal, this is the first point to detect this. So you need to collect the georeferenced data, you need to get all focal point, everything related, and it should be documented very well. Okay, so you need to be at least 2 person. Okay, so the team should be at least 2 person. So one will take the sample, another one to help him, and those 2 person need to be aware and trained on how they will collect the sample and saving the samples and everything. So it's much better to have like 2 persons team, not like only one driving his car, go to the field and then go back and looking for what he needs and coming back. No, it should be like one visit, and you should be well equipped and well prepared to collect this sample and taking the worst case scenario that it's already TR4. Okay?
I have one question. How long the sample will valid for in that case?
I
Well,
don't
we will explain this. Okay, I said it's better to have like 2 person, because it's, you will see now. It will be much better. It could be done by 1 person, 1 trained person, but it's much better to have like teams of 2, and they will help each other to collecting and saving this sample.
Let me explain something. Yesterday, when I explained the contingency plan, there is a part that says the preliminary diagnostic and the same. And there is a list. We spent time. It was very boring, but it's all the information that you have to collect. That is what has been explained. Regarding the sample, I was thinking of doing later. In order don't miss. Fusarium will, the banana vessels should be put in filter paper, in sterile filter paper or sterile paper. Never in bags, plastic bags. There is humid, and you have to think in the second process, that is the isolation and diagnostic. If you put it dry in filter paper and in envelopes, paper envelopes, you can keep at room temperature in the laboratory for 15, 21 months. It never rots. What you can do, put in the sunlight or put in the freezer to freeze. You can have in a dark in the laboratory, put your sample with all identification. There is many ways of doing identification. What we do, we have a live list of, the phone is going to go, a list of, the sample 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have a data bank. Sample 1 coming from the plate, GPS. There is many. The best one is, the program is that at once you have all information. But you can, what you have to, a full record of the site, the conditions, the variety, if first year, if 2, second raton, third raton, fourth raton, the movement, the origin of the material, all the data that have been in the preliminary diagnostic. Because this data, together with the laboratory results, you're going to be together to get the decision if you have or not. And most important, what you have to do after to contain the result. You want to say something?
Sí, gracias. Buenos días. Necesito a mi traductor oficial. Gracias.
Sí.
Tal vez para aclarar la actividad del día de hoy, son dos tiempos y son dos momentos diferentes.
To clarify our activities today, recalling that it's two different groups, two different activities.
Y cuando ustedes como técnicos van al campo, son también dos momentos diferentes.
When you go in the field as technicians, is also two different movements.
El primero es la vigilancia fitosanitaria.
The first is phytosanitary surveillance.
Cuando vamos al campo a hacer este recorrido e identificar los síntomas en campo.
When you go in the field and you are executing an official surveillance, you are monitoring and walking around, surveying, inspecting.
Esto fue lo que conversamos el día de ayer.
This is what we discussed yesterday.
El primer momento es ir a campo, hacer una ronda y buscar aquellas plantas que puedan tener los síntomas que mencionó el doctor Luis.
So in this case, you go out in the field, you are inspecting, you are looking, you are searching, and this is what Dr. Luis explained.
Para hacer vigilancia se necesita contar con el kit de vigilancia que mencionaron que ustedes conocen.
And to do surveillance, you must have the surveillance kit.
Importante, como mencionaron hace un momento, Mayet, dejar los carros fuera de la finca de preferencia y entrar caminando.
And as Maged mentioned earlier, you leave your vehicle outside of the boundaries of the field to ensure all of this biosecurity.
Ser los primeros en hacer bioseguridad con nuestro calzado para enseñarle al productor que si nosotros lo hacemos, ellos también pueden.
And to be the first to show to the farmer our biosecurity practices such as our shoes, and so they themselves can do it and follow suit.
Y luego ingresar al campo a hacer la vigilancia que ustedes conocen, con sus datos, con las coordenadas, toda la información de vigilancia fitosanitaria.
And that is when you get into the field, you have your kit, you have all your data collection apparatus and to begin your official surveillance.
En caso de detectar una planta sospechosa,
in the case when you are detecting a suspicious plant,
hay dos vías de hacerlo.
there are two ways to do it.
La primera,
First,
si están preparados como técnicos para tomar la muestra y tienen todo con ustedes,
if you are prepared as a technician and you have your entire kit and you are prepared to do so,
o la segunda, hacer la comunicación al área respectiva de toma de muestras e informar, delimitar el lugar, la planta e informar para que venga un equipo especializado a tomar la muestra.
and in the other case, if you are not prepared, then you inform those who are responsible for taking samples, but before leaving, you need to demarcate the area to ensure that it is properly secure.
Y el siguiente paso con el doctor Luis.
And the next step is that which Dr. Luis is responsible for.
Okay.
Gracias.
Luis,
Sí.
Buenos días. Tal vez si me permite.
Adelante.
Gracias, Nelson. Hay algo importante en la realidad, en el día a día de los técnicos.
So there's something very important in the day-to-day activities of the technician.
Es muy posible que en el día a día sea o un productor o sea un técnico el que detecta una planta sospechosa. Esa es la realidad.
And in the reality, sometimes it's the farmer or a technician on his normal routine that would see a symptomatic plant.
Bajo ninguna circunstancia se recomienda tomar muestras intervenir partes de la planta. No es recomendable.
And it's not recommended that in a case like this, that you approach the plant and take a sample immediately.
Lo recomendable en el caso de sospechas de fusarium
The recommended steps to take in the case of fusarium
como lo dijo Mónica, es marcar el sitio e informar a la ONPF.
is to mark the plant and then inform the NPPO of the country,
Ese es
who is responsible for collecting samples in this case.
y seguir un protocolo de toma de muestra y de despacho de muestra para los análisis.
And follow a protocol, an established SOP for collecting of the sample and sending the samples to the lab or moving the samples to the lab.
Para que conozcan, en Ecuador no se toman muestras a plantas que no son sospechosas.
So, as additional information, in Ecuador, it is not, you are not allowed to collect samples from plants that do not have symptoms.
Los recursos en los laboratorios son limitados
The resources of the labs are limited,
y necesitamos realmente tomar muestras a una planta sospechosa.
and so for that reason, we are only allowed to take samples from plants that are symptomatic.
En la realidad del campo, fusarium, bacterias, moco, en los síntomas iniciales pueden confundir fácilmente.
And in reality, as explained earlier, the symptoms of fusarium, the symptoms of moco, the symptoms of other bacteria can be confused.
Por eso es importante, es muy importante en la vida rutinaria empezar a entrenarse en síntomas y empezar a entrenarse en el protocolo para la sospecha de fusarium.
And so it is very important that in your day-to-day activities that you familiarize yourself with all of the symptoms and to be able to differentiate them, and also to understand very clearly the protocols for collecting of samples and reacting to a suspected case of fusarium.
Okay, it's the same. Every plant protection organization will organize in its own condition the procedures. Always inside keeping the basic requirements. Many times you can decide we have a couple of 4 persons that is going to be in charge of taking samples. But what is important is once one person believes that this is a case, you talk to the grower and say you have to preserve this place and do not allow anybody going to take samples. And then decide as soon as possible the sampling and diagnostic procedure. We have talked about the data we have to collect, we have talked about the symptoms, we have talked where is the part where we have to take the samples, and we have talked also how we preserve the samples in envelopes and dry. You can keep long time in the lab, it can be recovered, but it's not the best if you can process as early. Okay, from
How important is site history in determining what to do when you move to the site, the site? That's one?
Yes.
La historia del sitio, site history.
yes, it's in the. I thought that in the preliminary, data, you read in the contingency plan I explained, there is all the history you have.
So
The most important.
I would like to
Even if there is trading or production of another crops that can be moving through because the soil is going to be moved and all these things. All this is check the contingency plan. I left the presentation, the data, the important data you have to collect.
The manage.
And an interesting thing I'd like also for you all to discuss is in the Caribbean context. If you drive through the countries, because we had a lot of estates, banana estates, etc., you have a lot of abandoned fields, you have plants which are on the roadside, you have plants which are at the backyard of homes, and these may be the plants that may have symptom expression. And so some of the data that is recommended through the contingency plan may not be available. So you might be walking through the rainforest and there's this lonesome plant, maybe of Romichelle or something. There may have been a farm many years ago, abandoned, and there's no information about the plant, but the plant is showing symptoms. Some of the data that is required as the background information is unavailable. How do you approach this as a technician?
Well, you call me, I tell you what it is.
No,
No,
I'm
the-
just
the-
giving one example from. Okay, after you.
Okay. At least you have to see what subgroup belongs. If Cavendish, all Musa cuminata plants have a staining of dark in the cell stain and a typical. If plantain have a typical leaf and the stain is not so much, the stain is not so much stain. Some of time is rose like this is there. The blue gourd is, when you go to the blue gourd, the pseudo stain is clear. Musa balbiciana do not have spots that colors in the leaf. But there is also, if the plant is flowering, in Musa combinata, the bracts of the bunch is se enrolla hacia arriba, ¿cómo es? Rose. And in balbiciana, do not roll, but
It becomes flaccid.
in acuminata, there is a, when you get the bractea and you look at, it's very purple and then fade to the base of the bractea. In balbiciana, it's uniform. So there is several characteristics you can follow. And the bunch of Cavendish, bunch of plantain, bunch of blue oil type. Is
So Dr. Perez,
yes.
How many people here can differentiate between, in Musa species, only what is bananas and what is plantains?
What is banana?
And
What is plantain? Well,
Right. How many people here can differentiate
outside the outside the dish.
How many people here can differentiate between the different groups of bananas?
Varietals.
Varietals, so subgroups.
Okay, I can see for Gal, Jafrican.
Right.
No,
so
no.
Not
You are talking.
hybrids.
You are talking about Cavendish. You are talking about Musa cuminata. He's talking about subgroups. Cavendish, plantains, blue gourds, Mysore. Okay.
Then again, it
So-
should be what you have been exposed to.
Exactly.
Different countries have different
No. But the subgroups, what changed the name is a cultivo. The subgroup is the same.
So this is what I'm trying to show, that there's still also a knowledge gap in the amount of information that we can collect. because a technician is trained to go out there. He knows bananas, he knows plantains.
Okay.
Right? Within bananas, the most popular that is there are the Cavendish. But within Cavendish, there's also many
No,
colors.
but it is
Right?
almost impossible. I
So-
can do,
I
but
un-
it's almost impossible. For many people,
So-
many Cavendish.
Does it make any difference the TR4?
Yes.
If it's Cavendish,
If
do
it-
you need to go down?
No.
That's
No. But what
So you
what
don't
if
need to go to this level, okay?
Yeah,
Don't
but-
complicate it for them. If
but-
you know banana,
Uh-huh.
okay, that's it. You
Also-
asking,
also you have
can
balance.
ask if it's Cavendish.
What is
okay.
more
So make
popular
it
Cavendish
easy
here?
for them, okay?
how
Don't
many what was the variety we saw on Sunday?
The most popular.
The
What
one
we doing?
with the symptoms. What was the
It's a blue goat.
It's a blue goat.
Yes, I took my hand.
Okay, it's a blue goat. I thought it was
It's
a
a
plantain.
pale
but-
leaf and it's a baby type.
Right.
let me just come back to the site history. It's extremely important, okay? Because the first question we're asking as international experts about the potential pathway. So what is the
Yes.
source? Because TR4 is not flying and just decide to land in this country.
Yes.
Okay? And we always make our own theories that it's coming through planting materials, coming through this private sector company, or some people is exchanging planting material. Because with all respect, okay, we didn't have like a scientific based evidence that it was transferred from one continent to another with like shoes. It could be with a machinery, contaminated machinery or something like that. But it's not like with shoes. Of course, we will not having flooding from Asia to come to Latin America. Okay, so it's moving to Africa and Mozambique, and it was in Asia and Taiwan and so on. How this happened? And you need to track back the source of infestation, and this is very important because it could be like one spot infested, and if you do your investigation, it could be a bunch of planting materials distributed all over your country. Okay, so the site history is extremely important to see, and the planting material, the source of the planting material, everything, because you are putting all theories how TR4 reached to your country, and it's extremely important. Okay, that's why we need to collect and document all data, because later on when you analyzing this data, you will discover the source, and it's a very good lesson to learn in the future. If you need to do like a containment, you need to know the source first, because you will put your plan for surveillance based on this. Because if you get like a consignment full of suckers, okay, and then your farmer told you that I get this from this person who was distributed, and he convinced us that it's a very good variety, and we did it. You can go to this person and ask it, okay, where is the rest of the suckers? Okay, and you go to these locations and do your surveillance. That's the importance of tracking and recording the history of the site.
Thank you.
Very
Hold on.
important.
One
Hold
final
on.
question.
Hold on. You had an intervention. Melvin.
Melvin,
Yes.
you were
You had your hand up.
ah,
No, era con relación al grupo
Blue Boy.
al grupo que mencionó Luis, que si es muy común en los países del Caribe, la siembra.
Sí,
Sí.
aquí yo lo he visto en
Pues-
todos los patios.
Y la que estábamos...
The problem is that the people use blue oil for feeding animals most of the time.
Pero es una musácea.
Es una musácea.
Que es susceptible
No,
a abusar.
if you go to Guantanamo in Cuba, you have breakfast with blue oil, have snacks with blue oil, you have lunch with blue oil, snacks again, and dinner. And maybe at the night you get a milkshake with blue oil.
You broke
What is so I advise the people, I know it's costly, start to use tissue culture plants. Why? Because there is most of the tissueculture plants, if are done correctly, we begin with a certified healthy material. This is one question. The second question is that tissue culture process are remove meristems and put in the media, then grow the plant. Meristems do not have nutrients because the fungus colonize vessels. And when you get a small meristematic point, you are excluding most. I don't have any case that happen cancer.
Let's suppose the medium that you use is contaminated.
No. Eso es out of the question.
Let me share with you some experience from Africa. Actually, planting material for banana, it's beyond TR4, okay? Because there is many diseases transmitted by planting material. And we always, when we proposing to any government to provide a certified planting material, of course tissue culture is coming in the first place. But then we have the challenge, we don't have the facility for tissue culture. And then if we need to establish one, we need a lot of resources to do this. But certified planting materials, it's even beyond tissue culture, okay? Because we always looking for the available option. We also have macro propagation. So if the government has this location and it's certified pest free, it has no insect vectors to make sure even if you have like some viruses like BBTV or something like that, and also it's free of fusarium in general, race 1, race 2, race 4 or
Whatever.
something, and you're getting like a clean planting material and start to do like a macro propagation, get the rhizomes and cut it to places and start to cultivating suckers out of this rhizome. It is clean planting material. So you don't need to put yourself in the corner, I need tissue culture one. You just need planting material, it's free of the disease, regardless what is this disease is. Because we are dealing with BBTV as well, and BBTV is important, okay? As a TR4, it's not like that level because you still can eradicate it somehow. At TR4 you can't eradicate it, but somehow you can control BBTV. But it's like extremely dangerous. So each country need to work on the seed system of banana. And don't go to the first option is like tissue culture. You can still do it with your available resources. So macro propagation is still like an option for that. The only thing, if you provide a certified planting material and you can subsidize this to the farmer, they will not go and looking for other sources because they are guaranteed that this planting material is giving a good yield, good quality yield, healthy one, and so on. But this is the main challenge. The government always looking, okay, we need support to have like a tissue culture facility. That's why in one of the presentations said it's like 100 acres, but we have a tissue culture facility. Actually, private sector will not working for 100 acres, okay? But the government can do it because it's not like a big issue. All you need like a small lab with a trained technician to do it. You just need a laminar flow, autoclave, and then incubating chambers, and that's it. Okay? So it's not like a complicated technology, but you need a trained staff and some equipment and clean place to start to working on this. But again, looking for what is available in your context. Don't go for the high-tech one, okay? So again, it's very crucial to secure a certified planting material, not only for TR4, for all banana diseases. If you need to keep the variety pure, you need to do this, okay? Otherwise, you will find a variety coming from here, another variety coming from there, and then said, this is Cavendish. No, this is not Cavendish, okay? So by time, you will lose your varieties, okay? So it's important to work in this, not only for TR4, for all
Right.
banana disease.
All right. Good. So you see the sun coming out in its glory, right? And we have 2 activities to do in the field. Okay? So we're going to divide into 2 groups.
So you're getting in the middle of the pseudostem, okay? And one trick that if you want to see the vines or the xylem tissues is going to this one, it will be in this side. Because the nature of the leaf is growing like a spiral. So this one is not moving like this. If you're tracking this shield, it will be here. So most probably if you want to get the vessels or the xylem tissue that feeds this one, it will be in this side. And vice versa. If you want to get this one, it will be in this side. Okay? So now we know that we need to get in this area. Our samples, we will collect our sample from this area, and we know now the direction and how we can do this. First thing, I need help. So you need to make sure that everything is sterilized. So we are using alcohol.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
Why you didn't choose this one?
Choose what?
Why you did choose this one as the first leaf?
No. This is the first leaf because the outer one. Okay. So this is the first leaf showing symptoms, and then moving to this one and this one and that one and so on. Okay, I'm just assuming this is the first leaf, so you're going this side. If this is the first leaf, you're going to that side. So I'm just giving an example, okay? But usually it's the outer leaf showing the symptoms. The first leaf showing the symptoms is the outer one. Once it's like already advanced in the infestation or in the symptoms, it's moving to the next one. Until the end, we're showing what we're calling a skirt.
Yeah.
Okay, so the skirt, you will find all leaves is going down and showing like a skirt symptom. Okay, but this is very advanced. We will not take in sample from those plants. So the first thing, you need to make sure that you are sterilized. So the first thing, even if you're wearing gloves, you need to sterilize your hands and also your tools. Make sure you are not hurting yourself, okay? And then you decide, I need to take my sample, okay? We agreed that this is the height we need to collect the sample, okay? And again, we will do the assumption that the infested leaf in this side, so we are going in that side, okay? We are not cutting down everything, okay? We just need to collect sample and then leave the plant as it is. So what we are doing, we're doing like a window. Okay? And to make easy to extract the sample, try to use it not directly, but you need to cut with an angle like this, like 45 angle like this, okay? And it's the same thing from here. So I started with the cross section here, and then I'm taking the vertical one. Why? Because if I'm not getting the horizon one, and when I'm trying to do the vertical one, I can go down, okay? But now I started with this, and then I cut it, the vertical one with angle, okay? So what I'm doing now, I'm trying to extract my sample. So what I'm doing is starting layer by layer. So what I'm doing, I'm taking the first one or two layers. And you can see it's coming easy. Why? Because this cut with angle make it easy for you. Some people do it like directly like this and finding trouble extracting the sample. So what I'm looking for here as a sample, I'm looking for these vessels and see if there is any discoloration here. Okay? Of course, this is like free of fusarium, so you will not finding anything. But what I'm exactly doing, I'm going layer by layer. Okay? So this is like 3 layers, but it's clean. So I can take more. Okay? Let's assume that now I can find some discolored vessels. Okay? The tissue. So how I can react to this? I'm taking the layer, affected layer, and then I'm cutting this like that. To see all vessels. Okay? In case if there is like fusarium mold, you will find like yellow, brown, reddish. Okay? Vessels. Let's see.